أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. So we started Surah Ash-Shams last week and probably we will finish it today, inshallah. So this is the 26th Surah in Revelation order, 91st in Mus'haf order. So these are the verses that we studied last week. Let's remember the verses again. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا, by the sun and its brightness, and by the moon as it follows it. وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا, and by the day as it displays its glory, the sun's glory, and by the night as it conceals it, as it conceals the sun. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا ضَحَاهَا, by the heaven and its wonderful structure, or by the heaven and the one who built it, and by the earth and its wide expanse, or by the earth and the one who spread it. وَالنَّفْسِ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and by the soul and the proportion and order given to it, or by the one who perfected it. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, and inspired it what is wrong for it and what is right for it. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا, truly he succeeds that purifies it, and he fails that corrupts it. These were the verses that we studied, and today inshallah we will continue with كَذَّبَتْ ثَمُودُ بِطَغْوَاهَا إِذْ انْبَعَثَ أَشْقَاهَا. The Thamud rejected through their arrogant cruelty when the most wicked of them rose against him. فَقَالَ لَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ نَاقَةَ اللَّهِ وَسُقِيَاهَا, but the messenger of Allah said to them, it is the she-camel of Allah, and bar her not from having her drink. فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَعَقَرُوهَا فَدَمْدَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ بِذَنبِهِمْ فَسَوَّاهَا. Then they rejected him and they slaughtered her cruelly. So their Lord, on account of their crime, obliterated their traces and made them equal. وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقْبَاهَا, and for him is no fear of its consequences. This was the surah. And as we were talking about the intro verses, Assalamu alaikum. So the intro verses set the stage for the rest of the surah. And the surah was starting with the sun and its light, the moon, how it follows the sun. We talked about what are the significance of sun, moon, day, night. But overall, just summarizing it in a few words, the creation is being brought to our attention. And then وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا ضَحَاهَا, the heavens and the earth was also mentioned. So in a way, as we were discussing this, we used a metaphor to say that you are on a university campus and they are showing you the research buildings, the auditoriums, the sports complexes and everything, saying that, look, we did this with order, we did this with order for a certain purpose. And then comes وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and by the soul, by the self, and the order given to it, or the one who created it within perfect order. And now we continue with our metaphor, saying that now comes to you, O students, in this university environment, and who put you into this specific student position. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, and inspired it with what is right for it and what's wrong for it. As if now, in our metaphor, the whole university is done for you. You are brought to here as a student, and you're instructed about this whole knowledge, what is right, what is wrong. And then came the question, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. So I will start this week's discussion from here. We talked about it last week, but let's pick it up from there, because the follow-up verses are going to be an example of this one. So قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. So after all these introduction, 8 verses of introduction, comes a certainty. And we talked about it. The words of oath in Quran is there. First, it's going to support some unknown for me, the words of oath. And the words of oath in here was by the sun, by the moon. It's like, these are the things in front of my eyes, as if university president coming and sort of telling you your responsibility, going to remind you about responsibility, but starts by saying that, don't you see this vast research buildings? Don't you see those huge laboratories? Don't you see all those computer labs, those dormitories, those sports complexes? These are the things that you see, and you can relate to them. So you see that, well, yeah, a huge amount of investment is made in here. And then he says, not only that, how about yourself? Look at yourself. We brought you here for a purpose. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. And on top of that says, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. And look at all those courses that you take. You are being taught, you are being instructed with all these. Now, the student is prepared for, okay, yes, something must be at stake very seriously. With all these words of oath, these are all the things that I know of, and I can relate to them. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Indeed, he succeeds that purifies it. And again, definitely, indeed, he fails that corrupts it. So it comes to saying that, well, you see, the whole university looks to you and your success. And if you purify yourself, you're going to be successful. Like if you keep being conscious of and act accordingly with the meaning of what it means to be a student, then you will be successful. But if you corrupt your studenthood, then you're going to fail. So for a student, let's continue with our example. Success would be to learn what you are supposed to learn and be successful in your classes. But let's say Qadir, staying in the dorm, but throughout the day is just looking at the Bitcoin prices, and he's just waiting for the right moment to put money into Bitcoin, and he's getting super rich. Let's say he is successfully really gambling with Bitcoin prices. Is Qadir successful or he is a failure? Per Surah's explanation. From the point of being a student, he is a failure. Because he pretty much abandoned the whole thing about all the university and everything. He's just using university as a shelter. And at best, using the fast internet access of the university. And other than that, he could have been anywhere else to do the same thing. But he is just failure. As a student, he is a failure. He might be a successful businessman, or he might be a successful gambler, but he's not a successful student. Any comments? Okay. So,
okay, question to open up. So within the analogy, things are pretty clear. The student shape and so on and so forth. So based on this ayah, then what is the purpose of me?
What's the purpose of?
Purpose of myself, not me, in the real life. Based on these ayahs, how am I going to locate myself?
So, yes, let's ask that question. Then, as he was saying, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. And again, this is the part that's part of the words of oath. Because really, this should be setting the purpose. Verses number 8, 9, 10 should be describing what human is for. And let's ask the question then. Okay, these are my questions. Let's go this much. So I will ask Birkan's question in a second. But before I go there, let me ask this question. Like we say, human is born in the best form. Where does the dirt or impurity come from? How does the nafs get corrupted? How do we cleanse or purify the nafs? We might have talked about this last week. If we did, I'll take it first from Ahmed, then from our note taker.
So last time we just said that let's say you achieve something and you start saying, "Oh, I did it." That's a form of impurity that you put on your nafs. And another thing that we discussed was that in the starting ayahs of the surah, it talks about all these signs, the sun, the moon, and all these things that Allah created. But if you start isolating them from their creator and looking at them just by themselves, you take away their beauty, and that's another way you corrupt your nafs.
Okay. Anything else, Zareen, you would like to add?
Yeah, and basically just going off of that, like dirtying ourselves or dirtying like something in existence or creation is, I guess, attributing a quality to them that they don't actually have. And so saying, for example, like a flower is beautiful, or like I am so great because I published a paper or whatever. Like both of those statements are in the former dirtying like the flower and then dirtying myself because I made this false claim of ownership over something. And so the cleansing part or the purifying part would be to say that, no, this doesn't belong to me and it doesn't belong to the flower either. So cleansing ourselves from those false like claims of ownership.
Yep. But when human was created, though, this dirt was not there, right? So we dirty it by making such choices. Then we can ask the question, if human is getting corrupted by making those choices, why are we given the choice in the first place? Wouldn't it be nice if we were innocent like a plant? Like, would you like to be, ask yourself, to be taken away this choice? Is that okay for you? Because it looks like the structure, the way we are done is, we are put in here. We are instructed what's right, what's wrong, and we are left there. And it looks like everything is happening right there. The whole universe is prepared for me. I am instructed what's right, what's wrong. And this is where corruption or purification is taking place. What do you think? Are you okay with this choice being given to you, or you prefer not to have it in the first place? Because this is the source of your corruption.
So the way I'm thinking about it is like, this is what makes us the best of the creations, because if you don't choose by, like, if you're just a plant, if you don't do anything wrong, then, or a person who is given the choice sees both right and wrong and still chooses the right path, I feel like that gives them slight edge over that type of creation. And I feel like if I relate this back to how the angels were told to bow before Hazrat Adam, I feel like in my head that's the difference, and that's what makes humans a superior being. And it's,
what do you think? And this is related to Birkan's question. I mean, that's a good answer. It is related to Birkan's question. Then what is my duty in this existence? Because it looks like this is where everything is boiling down to. Like in our metaphor, talking about the university buildings and everything and saying that, look, we are teaching you all this stuff. What comes to students? It's clear. Student needs to learn and not fail the classes. Now, what is the duty of human being in this school of universe?
So, I think I had a similar answer last time too, that, going off of ayah number 8, that it's to have the taqwa, which is God consciousness, and to continuously throughout your life purify it. And I think that's what the next ayah means, that you're going to succeed if you purify it. And by purification, it is to have the taqwa, to have the God consciousness.
Zareen, you have a comment there?
I guess maybe also, part of it could be like interacting with sort of the different names of the creator, like this opportunity to choose helps us learn about like different aspects of the creation. So for example, like if I like have a fight with my mom or something, or I say something terrible to her,
Yes, she is here.
But afterwards I feel terrible, so I made a wrong choice, and maybe I've corrupted myself in that manner. But then this feeling that is put inside me of this regret and guilt, that pushes me then to apologize, and we have a very heartfelt moment as she accepts my apology very graciously. But that allows me to experience then mercy, which also would tie back to my creator, as I see him as the most merciful one. So maybe being able to choose helps me learn in a way that helps me interact with like these different divine names better than if like I was just obeying and not corrupted, not given a chance to even like investigate or question for myself, or like read all the feelings and like things around me as like coming from the creator. I would just have that knowledge, I guess. Or maybe not even have the knowledge, just like the angel.
And we can relate to that, right? For example, if a teacher is just telling you, lecturing you one way, all true answers, because the verse was saying that we taught you the right and the wrong. If the teacher keeps you pumping the right answers the whole time, how much would you learn? Generally tends down to memorization, not learning really. How human learns. So like teacher keeps giving the right answer and then asks a question which is at the boundary. Now the student is starting to understand where right ends and wrong starts. So by giving those wrong answers with right answers, like right option, wrong option, this is how human is learning. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a learning for us. It would have been a memorization. This is why in our teaching, we tend to give sometimes tricky questions, wrong answers, wrong suggestions, so that student understands what's going on. This is how we are as a human being. And the verse is saying that, yes, this is exactly how it is. I taught you what's right, what's wrong, because this is how you are learning. And by being able to choose among them, you will be able to learn. This is where your duty is now coming. And as a human being, your task is to learn by choosing. We don't have the option not to choose. Like, we are not plants, we are humans. No matter what, we make choices. And the Creator says, yes, I made you as such, knowingly, deliberately, because this is how we are going to learn. But how are you going to utilize this is where the question starts. You have a comment there, Kadish, or not? Brother Birkan, what's your answer for your own question?
I don't have a clear answer. I was taking some examples while listening. So I find myself being a father. I have this creature with me, And in every sense, I just found myself in this situation. And there are aspects of it that, gives pleasure. There are aspects of it if you pain, right? If you take it from different ways. And all these different emotions, all different experiences that I go through. And so as the ayah 8 says, inspired the wrongness of it, like we can translate it this way, right? Fujuraha, the wrongness of it, or the wretchedness of it, and also taqwa of it, like the rightness of it. So I have this thing, this the reality created in front of me, and I need to know about its the beauties and about its the wretchedness, how it could go wrong. If I take this creature, for instance, as my property, try to shape it as I wish. The moment she said no, I'm devastated and I get angry. I start having pain. But when I see it as a beautiful creation, as Quran describes, given as hiba, like a gift without anything in return. So I will just take it as the object of the enjoyment. Right? So it becomes an enjoyment for me. So it seems when I apply this to myself as well, I find myself endowed with the spirit, nafs, or not the spirit, the nafs, the soul. And I see that if I utilize it in a certain way, I experience nothing but pleasure. And if I utilize it in a certain and some other ways, I experience nothing but pain. And then I realize this, that the enjoyment comes when I make the link to my creator, when I see my nafs as a means to know about my creator, to experience his presence. And through the guidance of Quran and the revelation, as I start understanding how am I going to utilize it to experience the presence of my creator, and I say, this is my purpose. Just be observant of all these enjoyments that are being created for me. That's my pleasure. That's my purpose. Just enjoy what is being created for you. Enjoy the presence of your creator, and utilize your soul in the right way.
And this happens by making because right and wrong is shown to me, as you said, what I can enjoy, in which way, if I take this daughter, I enjoy, in which way I take it, I get into trouble. So I am taught with this, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. So then the purification, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا, this, when I purify the self, this is when I'm going to find success. And when I corrupt the self, then I'm going to be a failure. So in here, I was just asking a few questions just to contrast. How is success and failure defined for human in today's society? Like when do we say somebody a loser? Like somebody who is financially unsuccessful, somebody who couldn't even graduate high school or something, like not successful in business, not successful in marriage life, in this or that. All these are the losers in our perception in society life. But here, as Quran is saying, he put the universe, he put the human at the heart of it, and put the human's choice at the heart of it, and said that right at this moment, your success and failure really lies in here. Are you going to purify it, or are you going to corrupt it, the nafs? It's all depending on your choices. Okay, yeah, I was just asking that question because just to highlight the importance of the choice here. Would you prefer to not be given the freedom of choice and live like a plant? Yes.
Question about uh, for clarification here.
Okay.
So I think we've seen like Mubarak as like in previous surahs like in Ma'idah, as a word for like purification or purified ones. And I was just wondering if there was a difference between that type of, or like using zakah versus that word.
That's good. So as I was looking at the word, they give two meanings to word zakat. They say it is like tazkiyah, it's either cleansing, purifying. And the second one is also increasing in there. So it has two meanings. And then they give a meaning which is a combination of two, increasing by cleansing, by purification. But as we were discussing last week for zakat and how zakat is cleansing your property, because you're giving away your property really. How is it that, and it's also within the culture, we say that zakat increases or both cleanses and also increases your property. How is it that you're going to give away, let it will increase? By the fact that by giving away, I am realizing that I don't own any of these. It's all his. Actually, I myself am also his. I also belong to him. Then by, in a sense, losing the sense of ownership of even myself. Like for instance, what happens in this case? If you can lose yourself and become united with your nation, something that I'm critical about, but something that people know well, what do? You are being proud of the wealth of your country. Or let's say if you are not feeling jealous of your brother or sister, then your brother's success becomes your success. You can get rich if you can forego your ego, your competition with your brother and whatnot. This is just an example. The success of your brother, you're going to feel like, oh, I become more successful now because it's my success. Your success is my success. Now let's apply it to the wealth in existence. I say, normally I was saying that, oh, I have $3, $5, $10, whatever. As I start giving it away, saying that it's not mine, forget about the money. My body is not mine. My intellect is not mine. All of them, I start giving it away. To whom? To my creator. Then I can start being proud of knowledge of my creator, saying that my creator is the all-knowing one. And I'm going to feeling like as if it is mine, not being in the sense of like when you're proud of your brother, it's not like being egotistically proud. You're happy for your brother, right? And as I give away, my wealth increases really because I say, oh, it's all my creator's property. I start as a slave, I don't own it, but I am feeling happy and as if being proud of my creator's wealth, being proud of my creator's knowledge, being proud of my creator's justice. So it increases in this case. So zakah's increased meaning applies to giving it away, purifying the self, because abd means not owning anything, but you come to a point that you are starting to become proud of your owner, your provider, your sustainer. Then you say, when you say Alhamdulillah, because Alhamdulillah means actually it's a word of tazkiyah. You're saying that anything that's praiseworthy, it belongs to him, which means it doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It belongs to him. But you will be happy and proud of your maker when you say Alhamdulillah. He is so good. Everything praiseworthy belongs to him. So this is how zakah is cleansing and at the same time increasing my property, sort of, in a sense. I'm not feeling poor anymore, for example. An Abdullah, a slave of the creator, wouldn't feel poor. Actually, a true slave of Allah will feel extremely wealthy because he says, my owner has everything. Like you see a person who has a lot of fields. Look, his father a lot of fields, let's say in Pakistan. He goes to the fields and says, oh, all these fields, it's ours. He's feeling proud of it. It's not his, but his father's. He is feeling secure and he feels like he has a lot of wealth because it belongs to his father. Likewise, as much as I can become a true slave of my creator and forego all those claims of ownership, when I say Alhamdulillah, actually I mean everything in here you see belongs to my creator. So I am secure. I don't feel any lack of property because everything is mine in this sense. So then human choice is at the very heart of it. This is why we need to be extremely careful with our choices. The creator is now telling me that this is where your success or failure really relies. It's not about you accumulating wealth. It's not you accumulating or increasing in anything. All that matters is you making a choice. That's where you are. And you have to make a choice. There's no escape from that. But how are you going to make this choice is important. And it is so much so important that either you will be a success or failure based on that. So do not say that, well, I'm a single, simple, unnecessary human being. It says, no, you are so important. Your choices are so important. So this is from Surah Al-Layl, which we studied quite some time ago. How do I make choices? Because it looks like I am being left in this separation. And when we were studying Surah Al-Layl, Inna sa'yakum lashatta, verily, the ends you strive for are diverse. You go in different paths, in a sense. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْتَى وَاتَّقَى وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى. Let's briefly remember what we said when we were discussing these verses. So he who gives and demonstrates taqwa, like in here, a'ata, sometimes they put within parentheses, give in charity, but keep it in general, giving it away. Things are entrusted to you. They are not your property. They are given as trust to you. Turn it back to its source, right? وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, and confirm it in goodness. You're not giving it away in like this disgust or, yeah, if you didn't put this point discount to my head, I wouldn't give it away, God. But since you are the strong one and want it and get back, okay, take it away. Not like that. But giving it away and confirming this in beautiful, in husna, فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى. The Creator says, we are going to make the easy to you. Choosing the easy is choosing the right, which is the easy thing, is going to be made easy to you. Because choosing is a hard thing. Like choosing the right is a tough thing. And you should be experiencing this in your life. Because choosing evil is sometimes so, especially in the society, so tasty, so nice looking. And you're finding it too hard not to go that direction. So how am I going to choose? And it's not that I can close myself in a cave and just avoid from making choices. I am in this life. So here, saying that, so becoming God conscious, so try to increase in God consciousness and train yourself in giving away. Giving away, start by giving wealth, charity, but see the gist of it. What is the gist of giving away in charity? It is to claim your false ownership. This money is not mine. This is why I'm giving it away. The owner of money says give it away, right? Then choosing the right is going to become easier for you. How about the reverse? The reverse is also valid. وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ وَاسْتَغْنَى. But the one who is greedy, miser, and thinks himself self-sufficient. See, self-sufficiency came up again. So if I start feeling like, no, I don't want to give it away, and then I'm self-sufficient, I'm enough for myself. وَكَذَّبَ بِالْحُسْنَى. And I am the denier of the beautiful. I don't see it as beautiful. I see like it's a struggle. Life is a struggle. So I have the right. I should really be protecting my wealth. Then, فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى. Then we are going to make the hard one easy for you. Choosing the evil is going to become easy for you in this case. So focus rather than focusing on how am I going to make the choice this way or that way, the creator is also teaching me, well, there is a way which is going to make your choices this way easy or that way easy. You should be investing in these. Increase in God consciousness, increase in giving it away, then making the right choice is going to become easier for you. If you become more like this bakhil, you don't want to give away anything, like you're becoming this greedy guy, and you're saying that, no, I am self-sufficient, I am smart enough, I am strong enough by myself, self-reliance increases, then this will lead you to choose wrong easily. So these are the root causes of having a tendency to evil or having a tendency to khair. If you would like to increase your tendency to khair, work on the first two. If you would like to increase your tendency to shar, work on the other two. The society is encouraging us on the other two. It's saying that, increase your capital. It is saying that you are strong enough, have self-respect, self-confidence, not confidence in your creator, have confidence on yourself. Yes.
What does it mean to testify to the best?
So وَكَذَّبَ وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى وَكَذَّبَ بِالْحُسْنَى. I mean, we discussed this before, but within this context, seeing it, like we can take it either as Asma'ul Husna, so seeing that all these are coming from the beautiful one, or if I read it from the reverse, كَذَّبَ بِالْحُسْنَى in this case means nothing is beautiful in the life, because Asma'ul Husna means he is the one that beautifies the creator. If I take it the other way around, what does it mean? Survival of the fittest. Everything is fighting with each other. Nothing is beautiful in this existence. Because really, beauty comes with eternal life for human existence. If there is death, nothing is beautiful in this existence. Like if we stage for one day, we make you the queen of like Queen Elizabeth, like a queen, real queen. But then we say, at the end of the day, though, we are going to slit your throat, just to depict it a little. What would you say? What were you doing? I don't want to be queen or anything. It's nothing is beautiful, as if you were just making this thing just so that you're going to attract more. It's like a clickbait. Oh, look, here's the queen. At the end of the day, more people will be watching my annihilation. Nothing about you being a queen would be beautiful in this case, right? If there is death, then nothing is beautiful in this existence. But if I see the existence as manifestation of the divine names, then I would say that things are beautiful. صَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى كَذَّبَ بِالْحُسْنَى then can be taken as such.
So two people looking at the same thing, a lion chasing a deer, and one with all the money and technology to make the documentary says, look at this is nothing but a misery. This is nothing but the conflict, hardship. And then you look at the same thing and you say, what are you talking about? I confirm there's a beauty, there's an order, there's a measure there.
Nadir had something to say.
So, Fajruha with the eighth ayah. So, how would you know, like you're choosing the best option that is put in front of you? Sometimes there are options in front of you, and you genuinely think this is the right option, but it turns out it was not. And then sometimes you do choose the right option, but then you end up feeling remorse for it. For example, maybe sacrificing something for the greater good, but then you feel bad about it. So, my question is like, do you always know what the right option is? Like, how do we deal with it?
Let's talk about that as we are now coming to the prophets, because the example that will be brought up after all these is said is a people like Thamud and how they denied their messenger. So we'll talk about that inshallah. And this is just a follow-up verse for purification, because purification means I did something wrong, which means I am bound to make something wrong, which means, Qadir, yes, you will time to time make wrong choices, knowingly or maybe sometimes unknowingly. How do you fix it? many verses about this in Quran. I just picked one of them. قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ. Say, O my servants who have transgressed against their souls. Again, pay attention to the word nafs here. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا was used in this Surah Shams. And now he's saying that you're transgressing your own soul, meaning you are corrupting your own soul. You are not transgressing me, you are transgressing your own soul. Like the university president comes and says, by not acting as a proper student, you're just wronging yourself. You're not harming me as the university president, you're harming yourself. لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Despair not of the mercy of Allah. إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا. For Allah forgives all the sins. إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. For He is oft forgiving, most merciful. What does this say? Qadir, you try to be the best of the students, but made a mistake. But you're sorry about making a mistake. Says, as long as you're sorry about your mistake and ready to erase it and go with the right choice, he says, all my doors are open. The point is not you not making any mistake at all. The point is that you will make mistakes, but are you able to recognize it? And the moment you recognize it as a mistake, would you make the choice to step back and say istighfar, like repentance, seeking forgiveness from the Creator, not from anybody, but repenting to your Creator, confessing to your Creator, and then saying that, oh, I was wrong with that. And this is how it is with my students, let's say. I teach the student in the lecture. Either the student is not very careful or maybe not too smart, couldn't understand it properly at that moment. Whatever it is, I ask a question, student gives a wrong answer. Since student gives a wrong answer, I say, it is like this, right? It is like this, right? So I just keep pushing the student a little bit, just to indicate that something is wrong with your answer. Then, student stops a bit because now, since the professor is not giving the immediate feedback, something is fishy going on in here. Then realizes his answer might be wrong, reevaluates it and says, I take my word back. This is the answer. Erase the wrong. I'm perfectly happy with the student. This was my point. I was trying to teach to the student. As long as the student didn't insist on it, confess the mistake, which is a sign of learning the correct answer, goes with the right answer. This is what the Creator is saying too. Saying that I am merciful, because mercifully I would like you to learn, and I'm ready to cleanse that mistake. Because that mistake was done to yourself. Let's come to the example. كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها.
Again, one back to Shams, right?
Yes, we are now back to Surah Shams. Now comes an example. So the surah started with oath for 8 verses. Then talked about, in 2 verses, talked about humans' job, humans' basic duty, verse 9 and 10. And now comes an example of that. كذبت ثمود بطغواها. The Thamud, the people of Thamud, rejected their prophet through their arrogant cruelty. إذ انبعث أشقاها. When the most wicked of them rose against them. So let's ask our question here. How is rejecting a prophet and or the message that he brings is corrupting the self? Because this is an example of corruption of the self. The prophet comes with a message, and as we will see, the message is, don't touch this she-camel of God, which is a very practical thing, and let her drink. And those people are rejecting this message. How is this corrupting the self? That's freedom of speech, man. Like, it's your opinion, O prophet. I think otherwise. How is this corrupting the self? Yes.
Maybe going back to the idea of it's the like the concept of like self-sufficiency, that I'm rejecting it because I think I know better than you, so. Or your message is going against some interest that I have that I want to keep pursuing.
Mm.
And so even if I see it as, even if, you know, deep down I do recognize it as the truth, like it's not, it goes against something that is maybe in the moment satisfying to me. So I want to cover it up
Mhm.
and keep going about my life. And I guess here, I don't know, if, like, I guess didn't the people at the mood like also like demand a sign from like Prophet Saleh, I guess. I'm not sure if this is correct, but like, and I guess the sheep camel was supposed to be that.
It's a sign. Yeah, it's a sign that's coming out from a what's it rock. So it's a sign given to them. But and the Prophet says to them, فَقَالَ لَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ نَاقَةَ اللَّهِ وَسُقْيَاهَا. So this is the she camel of God. Let it drink, sort of. People are giving a lie to this, saying that, no, what you're saying is wrong. Let's take it to our analogy. You are in the university campus, and a teacher comes and says, let's say, as Qadir is checking Bitcoin prices in the university internet, a teacher comes and says, look, you should be working on your assignments, working on your lectures, and you shouldn't be using university internet for such stuff. Qadir comes and says, how dare you say this to me? Qadir is rejecting the messenger now. Although what the messenger says is, Qadir's, like everything testifies to what messenger says. All the university buildings, all the curriculums, all the establishment says what the teacher says is right. This fast internet is not for you to have like very precise access to Bitcoin prices. It's for another purpose. But Qadir, out of his arrogant cruelty, comes out and says, no, how dare. This is corrupting the self. By making such a choice, he is corrupting his studentship. What the messenger brings into me here in this life, in this case, it is she camel of God. Says, this is she camel of God, let her drink. And don't mess up with the camel. But they say, no, it's not she camel of God. Since this is the case, and as we will see, they do what? They slaughtered her. And this فَعَقَرُوهَا, like this is the word they put in there, is hamstrung. Hamstrung, they say, is like a very cruelly killed animal. First, chopping off the legs, like this sort of a thing, not killing by cutting the throat. So they very cruelly killed the animal, like going against. So let's talk about it in general then. What is she camel of God? What is not she camel of God? Or what is not of God? We haven't seen the camel of Salih. What is it for you?
Everything is wrong.
Everything is God's creation. Like this creature, as Birkan was giving the example, Birkan's daughter. Is it Birkan's daughter or creator's trust to Birkan? Like this is a she camel of God entrusted to Birkan. And the creator says, Naqatullah wa suqiyaha. So let her drink whose water? Creator's water. Where does the problem start? Somebody says, no, it is mine. It is not his. So this is where the corruption is starting. This is where the prophethood comes in, actually. The prophet is coming with the message. And it didn't only say that the revelation, they rejected the revelation, but the rejection is happening with prophet. Prophet and revelation always comes together. They are not separated. And the example will always be with a camel, with something in life. It's not abstract. This is why prophets bring revelation, because revelation gets into life with Prophet. It's a tangible thing. If it was in the revelation only, maybe I would come out and say that, well, actually by she-camel, it means, and I'll just talk about some hypothetical thing. And I would say, well, it doesn't apply to my daughter. It's what he's talking about is, Yusuf, don't be arrogant. And I'm a nice guy. But when it comes to my relationship with my daughter, I'm acting as I behave. I would like to. Prophethood brings, religion should be in life. Prophet is what brings it into life, says that this is something to be lived by. And here's the she-camel, here's the water. Let me see if you are going to make the wrong choice of saying, no, 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 it is my she-camel. I don't see God anywhere, nowhere. I'll go and get the camel. This is my camel. Isn't this how we are acting? Like, oh, United States landed on the moon the first. So we can now start sending land on the moon. Now it's our land. Or we can start discussing the rules about how to maintain the moon. Or sometimes it happens in academia. Or I started working on this domain first. And you wouldn't like Kadir is now trying to become a student of mine. No, 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 you're not going to study this. I spared it for Mustafa to study. It's not yours. It is yours. Why? Because I say so. Like, we can claim ownership on anything. Prophet comes and says, no, it's Naqatullah. And the water that the Naqa, the camel, drinks is also Creator's water. Neither one of them is yours. So act responsibly. But I tend to say, no, no. I own more than a choice. But the verse was initially setting it up, saying that all you have is a choice, nothing more than that. Do not claim anything more than that. And even with this choice, the tiniest thing that is given to you, you are even messing it up. Just focus on there and do not mess up with this choice. Properly utilize. You are given the choice. Even the choice is not yours, but you're set free to make this choice. But look what you're claiming. You're saying that, oh, camel, she-camel is mine. Water is mine. So I will not let the camel to drink the water. Or in our practical life, as Brother Birkan beautifully gave the example, if it is my child, I start feeling like I am having authority over the child, as if I own the child. I would like to block the roads that I don't want her to go to or him to go to. And I say, how dare you do this to me? It applies everywhere, every human relationship, because this is an example of, since the Thamud is being given as an example as a community, at their social circle, they were tested with this, whether they would be correct to this choice, making the correct choice. So there's another thing that I want to emphasize here. إِذٍ بَعَثَ أَشْقَاهَا, this verse, there's that detail that Quran is mentioning. The most wicked them rose. Like, people are denying the Prophet. Okay, denial, fine. Somebody comes and brings the message. What would you say? Let's say Atik comes and says, Toyota Corolla is the best car. I think no, Camry. I said, well, your opinion is yours. I go my way. I wouldn't rise against them. I wouldn't start a fist fight. Like, it's just an opinion. It's your opinion. I don't care about it, man. I can say. Messenger brings a message, and people are fighting against messenger. Why would you be bothered by that? In today's society also, there's a big fight against messenger. And not sometimes people are fine with revelation, but the messenger is a problem. Because messenger messes up with your life. Messenger is also showing you what the message means. Like to Qadir's question, messenger tells you or teaches you a proper way of understanding the speech. Because otherwise, language is like a, what is it? Rubber? No. You can pull it with rubber band, like a rubber band. You can pull rubber band to many places. It's possible. Prophet is showing how to properly live this message. This is why rising against prophet is a thing. Because prophet, as long as prophet stands there, you cannot go the way you wish. The presence of the prophet as a trustworthy person, as a person of a reference point, threatens my wrongdoing. This is why I would like to rise against the prophet. I cannot simply say, oh, let him be. Don't worry about it. So, إِذْ بَعَثَ أَشْقَاهَا, this always happens within societies. Somebody will rise up against the messenger. So, this is something to watch out for ourselves too. And actually, on Sunday, when we were studying a text, I realized like there was a part about prophethood, and Zarin was making a comment that something was not clear there. Then I noticed maybe we should explicitly study prophethood. I'm not sure if we did it in our Friday discussions. We haven't. So inshallah, in the near future, we should start studying prophethood too, because the requirement for the message, my creator, I am expecting my creator to talk to me. Yes, speech is necessary, but speech with messenger, inseparable. Speech and messenger are not separable, because especially nowadays, as sometimes I mention, for example, in the establishment of the United States is a country which is established on Bible. Like the founding fathers were religious figures. They were okay with belief in God, in $1 bill, in God we trust. Like this country accepts God. This country doesn't have any issues with revelation, actually. It's unlike Europe, United States is a more religious country. But when it comes to prophethood, this is where things go wrong. The state says, we will decide how you guys are going to act. Church needs to be separate. Prophet needs to be separate. We need to put it outside of the social circle. This is like with the Industrial Revolution, the Enlightenment in Europe, church was taken out of the picture. In Europe, even the revelation was taken out of the picture. But in the States, revelation was preserved, but prophethood was taken out of the picture. This applies in many spheres in Muslim world as well. Prophethood is being taken out of the picture in different ways. And this verse is saying that this is not new. People were against prophet in general. The arrogance brings in an animosity towards the messenger. So, and this is, in turn, if now let's wrap it up, it will corrupt the self. If now we point, because this was the example, so, and the example is example of corruption of the self. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. So how do I purify the self? How do I corrupt the self? Those people corrupted the self by disobeying the command of the creator, which is brought to them with the messenger, by killing that she-camel. How do you kill the she-camel? Although, like clearly, naqat Allah. So it is the camel of Allah. He doesn't say it is just a camel. How do you violate here? You are violating the ownership here. This is where the violation is happening. So look at yourself, all your false choices. This is where I'm going to be faltering. Who is the owner? Then truly becoming an abd means, like true tazkiyah means, it's all yours. And acting accordingly. Not only intellectually saying everything belongs to God, but also acting accordingly. If I am saying that, yeah, my body belongs to the creator, but then I go and smoke cigarettes. Because smoking cigarette means I am not being, let's say, respectful to the trust of this health, and I'm just torturing it or killing it. Yet I say, yes, of course it belongs to the creator. then you would come and say, well, if it is a trusted prop, it's a thing that you're supposed to be protecting, why aren't you walking your talk, right? So this is where the purification is then happening. Release the ownership claims in your understanding and also in practice. This is how we can purify it. And the corruption happens the other way around. فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها. So, but as a response, what does the Creator do? For the people of Thamud, he says, so their Lord, on account of their crime, obliterated their traces and made them equal, as if just made them as if they didn't exist at all. Which is a very interesting way to say Rabbuhum is used in here. Their Lord is used in here. Rabb is a word of mercy. The word Rabb keeps the connotation of mercy, but the merciful one annihilated them. This really shows the level of anger because it's a huge contrast. As if it says the mother came and chopped off the child's head, like something like this. When you say mom, you mean a merciful figure is coming, and then you're saying that he just obliterated them. This shows the greatness of the fault in here, and I should look and come back to myself and say, I thought those small mistakes of choices, it's not a big thing, man, as I'm not even a speck of dust in this universe. How about me making a small wrongdoing here and there? As if it is saying that, no, he is going to just annihilate everything about it. Because you are really destroying, by this small choice, you are destroying the purpose of your existence. That's such a big thing. وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقْبَاهَا, and for him is no fear of its consequences. As if one can say that, well, he invested so much in this student, if we go back to our student analogy, and now he's coming and obliterating the student. Well, he was not a student at all. Like that person was not a student at all. So annihilation of that student is nothing. The university president in our example is not losing anything. You are the one who is losing. Because this, we can read it from other way around, as if I feel like, oh, if I am so important in this existence, then isn't my annihilation going to cost him something? No, nothing. It costs to you, not to him. From point of view of your existence, your choice is very important. So, in a nutshell, if we wrap it up, human, although a speck of dust in this existence, is at the heart of this existence. We are placed at a very important position, and at the very heart of this, our existence is our choice. That's all that I have to properly do. And I am left free to make this proper choice. And I am instructed with revelation. I am being instructed with the creation, because with my feelings, as Kadir was saying, and also prophets and students of prophets come and teach me, instruct me by action how to make those choices. Despite all these, if I insist on making wrong choices, I ruin myself, as the people of Thamud did. But if I choose the right, then this is the success. Otherwise, it's an utmost failure. And annihilation of me is no consequence for my maker. It's a consequence for me. Yes.
About annihilation, I was checking this. We also used it in Fifaya,
Yeah.
the nafs.
وَنَفْسِ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, yeah.
There we took it as make it proportional, or giving it maybe in a shape order, right? So I think we can also follow the same logic here, going back to Kadir's question, how am I going to know that I'm on the wrong path? As you gave all these other ayahs as an example, that your Rabb is always merciful, never leaving you alone. And when you did something, like when you commit such a big crime, claiming any ownership of the God's property, everything. So what happens is you can take this messenger as messenger for sure, because we do have the access to messenger. But in the moment as well, you have these messages coming to you through your conscience, through your, the emotions and so on and so forth. Right? You're receiving all these warnings, telling you that what you are doing there is not right. And you still say with your arrogance, with your wicked side, rising and saying that, no, this is mine. I will continue this way. I will teach this child how to behave. And what happens? You are destroyed, right? Every day you are destroyed. When you try this, you are destroyed, and then proportioned again. Like giving you a new shape, giving you a new measure. So you are constantly then being guided. And if your path is wrong, it is destroyed in front of you, so that you would know that it's wrong. It's not a source of the pleasure that you are looking for. Let it be destroyed, and the new path will be opened in front of you.
So our feelings of guilt when we do something wrong, in a way, the Creator it's a punishment. At the same time, it's a warning to wake up. So this is why even in the presence of hell, there is mercy of the Creator. And when you start feeling the hellfire in here, when you do something wrong, it's again of mercy of your Creator to say that, wake up, what you're doing is wrong. If I do something wrong and I wouldn't feel bad about it, that would really be lack of any mercy. The Creator says, okay, do whatever wrong you do. I'm not even going to make you notice that it's wrong. So you go wrong all the way. Yes.
I was thinking there are also like two aspects of taqwa. So the first one would be like taqwa while you're faced with a choice. So for example, like I'm scared of my parents and they're asking me, if I did something and I want to lie to them, but then I remember God and I'm like, okay, yes, I fear my parents, but I fear God more, so I'm going to tell the truth. So that taqwa in the moment like makes the choice easier for me. But there's also taqwa in terms of like lifestyle. And I'm thinking like if you practice God consciousness in your life, that will also lead you to things like reading the Quran, being interested in what your God has to say to you, which overall will help you like make better choices because you will be able to better identify right now.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan. So any concluding remarks? Yes.
For the last, for the last verse over here, it says, and for him is no fear of its consequences. But I think this translation says, I'll read the 14 as well. But they gave him the lie and wholly slaughtered her, whereupon their sustainer visited them with utter destruction for this their sin, destroying them all alike. For none of them had any fear of what might befall. So that's how they're translating it.
Yeah.
And I think it's really beautiful because it goes back to taqwa. So they didn't have taqwa, they didn't fear what consequences might befall them, which is what we do in our everyday lives. So I thought it just tied everything.
Yeah. So I guess in this case, it's going to be translated as he, like the guy who slaughtered. And if you take it as yourself doing this, so you indulge into such a wrong thing without being fearful of the consequences of it. So this might be something about what leads people to making wrong choices. This can also be read as such. But yeah, this is singular, so يخاف. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا